Imagine a single painting that has endured through history, not just as a masterpiece, but as a scream from the depths of human suffering. A painting that encapsulates the unbearable cost of war, the devastation of innocent lives, and the overwhelming chaos of destruction. What you're looking at is Pablo Picasso's iconic masterpiece, Guernica. But what makes this stark, black and white mural resonate through generations? What power lies behind its grotesque forms and jarring shapes? Could a painting, devoid of color, speak louder than 1,000 words? Let's unravel the story behind the imagery and discover why it still feels so raw today. In 1937, amidst the brutality of the Spanish Civil War, the small Basque town of Guernica found itself at the mercy of an unprecedented attack. On April 26th, Nazi Germany's Air Force carried out an aerial bombing that left the town in total ruins. Supporting General Franco's nationalist forces, the Nazis dropped bombs from the sky, indiscriminately killing civilians and reducing the town to ashes. This attack marked one of the first instances in modern warfare where a defenseless civilian population was intentionally targeted, and the human cost was devastating. News of the attack spread like wildfire, igniting outrage across the world. But it wasn't just the sheer destruction that stunned people. It was the unthinkable cruelty and the utter disregard for human life. For Picasso, a Spaniard living in exile in Paris, it was an assault on his very being. Grief-stricken and furious, he turned to his art, the one outlet powerful enough to carry the weight of his anguish. From this raw, emotional response came Guernica, a fierce and unrelenting outcry, a visual testament to the unimaginable horrors of war. Guernica is monumental, measuring an imposing 11 feet tall and 25.6 feet wide. But its size is not just for physical impact. It's an artistic tool that demands emotional involvement. Picasso deliberately chose an achromatic palette, blacks, whites, and grays, reflecting not only the starkness of the tragedy, but also echoing the grim, lifeless images that dominated newsprint at the time. It's as if the canvas itself is shouting, refusing to be ignored. The scene is a visual storm of chaos, suffering, and rage. On the left side of the painting, we see a mother, her face contorted in anguish, clutching her dead child in her arms. This modern pieta is a powerful symbol of maternal grief, a sorrow that transcends time, place, and politics. Above her, a bull looms, impassive and cold, often interpreted as a symbol of brutality, darkness, or even Franco's regime. The bull seems to mock the very notion of compassion, standing in stark contrast to the suffering below. At the center of the painting, a horse, pierced by a spear, screams in pain, its body arched in agony. Some believe this represents the suffering of the Spanish people themselves, torn apart by civil war. Around the horse, more figures emerge from the chaos. A woman caught in a burning building, her face frozen in terror. Another woman reaching out in desperate plea, and a dismembered soldier clutching a broken sword, symbolizing not just the loss of life, but the fragmentation of Spain. Above them, an eerie, eye-shaped light bulb hangs in the sky, casting an unsettling glow across the entire scene. Some argue it's a commentary on the pervasive, omnipresent nature of technology in war, a symbol of technological destruction. Others suggest it's a watchful eye, representing an indifferent, even malevolent force watching over the tragedy unfold. While Guernica is a direct response to the bombing of a specific town, Picasso's work contains layers of meaning that transcend this singular event. The bull and horse, for example, are recurring motifs in Picasso's work, but here they become symbols loaded with various interpretations. Some interpret the bull as a representation of Franco's fascism, a cruel, unyielding force that crushed Spain under its weight. Others see it as a symbol of darkness itself, embodying the violence and inhumanity of the attack. The horse, meanwhile, is the embodiment of anguish. Some view it as a metaphor for the suffering of the common people, others as a universal symbol of pain in times of conflict. The soldier, dismembered and clutching a broken sword, is yet another symbol with multiple meanings. Some believe it represents the disintegration of the Spanish identity during the Civil War, while others see it as a direct comment on the futility of war itself, where the soldier's broken weapon stands as a stark reminder of the destruction of the human spirit. Then, there's the light bulb or bombilla, a play on words with bomba, the Spanish word for bomb. This seemingly benign light source could very well represent the deadly nature of modern technological warfare. But it's also more than that. It's the ever-watchful gaze of those who remain indifferent to human suffering, a representation of the cold, mechanical eye of power that controls destruction. Picasso, always the master of ambiguity, never provided one clear interpretation of these symbols. He left them open-ended, allowing viewers to bring their own meanings, their own experiences, and their own emotions to the painting. And perhaps that's why Guernica still resonates so strongly today. It speaks to us, not just as a record of one tragedy, but as a universal statement against war itself. Since its first unveiling at the 1937 Paris International Exposition, Guernica has taken on a life of its own. Far from being merely a painting in a gallery, it became an icon, a symbol of peace, a cry against the devastation of war, and a powerful tool in global political discourse. Its global tour, following the exposition, helped to shine a spotlight on the Spanish Civil War and the atrocities being committed by Franco's forces. But over time, Guernica transcended its origins. It became a rallying cry for the oppressed, for those suffering under regimes of violence and injustice. Its presence at protests around the world, from Vietnam to the Middle East, has shown that Picasso's message is not bound by time or place, it is eternal. Today, housed in Madrid's Museo Reina Sofia, Guernica stands not only as a masterpiece of modern art, but as a timeless reminder of the horrors of war. Its preservation and study serve as an ongoing call to action, a plea for peace and for humanity to recognize the true cost of violence. Through Guernica, Picasso did not merely depict a single event. He captured the essence of human anguish, the suffering that war inflicts upon us all. His work serves as a visual manifesto against violence, an expression of universal pain. How do you interpret the imagery in Guernica? What emotions does it evoke within you? As we reflect on this haunting masterpiece, let's ask ourselves, how far have we come since the Spanish Civil War? And how far are we from repeating history? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more explorations of the world's most profound artworks. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.